So, World of Warcraft, whether you like it or hate it, I don't think anyone can deny the sort of impact it's had on not just the MMO genre, but just gaming in general. This was a game that had a couple million playing it when it first started, and here we are 20 years later, and it's still going strong. And every expansion, oh, this is the death of WoW. This is, and more people keep playing. Um, it has some of the best lore in any game. Right up there. I mean, not equivalent to, but right up there with Tolkien's work. How everything is so fleshed out. All the races have their own language, and so they really put, Chris Metzen, who is really the heart and soul of Blizzard. This was his baby. He's the J.R.R. Tolkien of Blizzard. You know, and to think that we've had 20 years of World of Warcraft, 30 years of Warcraft, but 20 years of WoW. From the beginning when we were just humble adventurers to now saviors of Azeroth and protectors of the universe. We've had a lot of journeys and come across some of the greatest villains, Arthas, Illidan, huge lore characters, and we've taken them down one by one. And here we are, 20 years later, and this is 20 years of Azeroth's greatest adventures. So, wow. Yes, that is indeed what we're looking at. We're looking at WoW. My God. 20 years. Think about where you were 20 years when you started playing the game. But we went from just humble adventurers to now we took on death itself. We conquered death itself. Um, we started a humble beginnings as just level ones, trekking through whether it be Elwyn Forest or Darnassus or Durotar. We all went through the same experience, whether it be collecting a few flowers for someone, or oh no, there's a rise in the population of this, go take care of them. So we all started at the same place, regardless of what race we were, what continent we were set on. And eventually we all hit that same point where we're exploring Molten Core for the first time and getting to see Ragnaros, the Fire Lord, as he looms above us. Um, the gates of Encourage open up once more, and suddenly we're in there taking care of an old god who is by far the most powerful being that we've experienced at this point. Even more powerful than Ragnaros. We journey to Outland. The portal opens up to Outland again. We journey to Outland, formerly Draenor. And we take down the lords of Outland. Lady Vosh, Kael'thas, and eventually Illidan himself. And while we didn't know what Illidan's plan was at the time, we knew that we had to stop him because he was causing a lot of strife and pain on that planet. And regardless of what he was planning, he had to be stopped. Then after some time, the Lich King happens. Arthas, who is now the Lich King, starts marching across the world, across Northrend, to infest and infect everything with the Scourge, trying to dominate the entire planet. Of course, with the help of the Horde and Alliance, and people like Jaina, Tyrion, Bolvar, we're able to take him down. So these heroes who aren't very strong are able to take down not only Arthas, but the Lich King Arthas, who's probably at that time the most powerful being on the planet. Peace returns, and then suddenly the world is shaken by the emergence of Deathwing, who literally breaks the world. Who we go different zones, and we see that in his wake, some zones aren't the same. We see parts of the Emerald Dream popping up in the Barrens. No longer just the Barrens, but now we have parts of the Emerald Dream. We go to Desolus, which no longer lives up to his name, because now in the middle of Desolus, we have this huge lush forest. All these places close to the water are now either flooded or ruined. Places like in northern eastern kingdoms, places that you knew questing, you go through Elwyn Forest, you make your way in that, you get to the next place, and you know exactly which one I'm talking about. Everyone goes there. Everyone. And then suddenly you walk in and there's tornadoes or, cyclones going on. The world is broken. And you're like, what happened? What happened to my world? Coastlines sunk, ruins. And we're charged with taking down Deathwing, the breaker of worlds, this guardian essentially of the earth, who has been twisted and corrupted by the whisperings of the old gods. With the help of the Dragon Soul, a final confrontation with Deathwing. We take him down out of the sky, and as his elementium plates break apart, the true madness that's been held within finally emerges, and we have this final confrontation with this massive, almost eldritch terror sort of Deathwing, tentacles and limbs all over the place as he completely loses himself to the corruption and the madness, and finally get him down. After that, some more peace, and then the mists depart. Pandaria. We go over there and discover the Shah. Not too long after that, we'd see that the heart of Yasharaj, one of the old gods, is still alive and kicking. Garrosh uses it to his own ends, and now it's up to us to stop Garrosh, who is now completely gone mad with power and threatens essentially everything. So we take him down. He uses the Heart of Yasharaj to essentially imbue himself with the power of an old god, and we end up having to take him down again. We defeat him. He now has to stand trial, and while he's waiting for trial, our good old bronze dragon Sam, no, come on. Come on. What was I saying? Oh yeah. With the help of Kairos, they hatch a plan to go into the past to play some shitty games that suck ass. No, they plan on going into the past with Rathion's help as well, to bring this Iron Horde in from the past to the future or this timeline to kind of help against the incoming threat of the Burning Legion. Of course, that doesn't work out, and we end up not only having to fight the warlords of Draenor, but we have to fight Archimonde. Garrosh loses his life to Thrall, who didn't cheat, by the way. Didn't cheat. It was never established what the rules were, but Blizzard did confirm that Garrosh wanted them to use whatever means they have at their disposal to win. So Thrall was well within his rights to use his elemental power. So that's from Blizzard themselves in Chronicles, the 4th or whatever volume of Chronicles, page 70 something. They confirm Thrall didn't cheat. But he dispatches Garrosh. We beat Archimonde. Gul'dan, who's been troubling us the whole time, was flung from alternate Draenor to our timeline to cause havoc. Legion picks up. We get our artifacts. Some of us more happy than others, and some of them are, Ashbringer, Doomhammer, these really iconic weapons that we've seen throughout the game. And some were more lore historic, like the, Scepter of Sargeras, which is so powerful it can literally rip apart space and time. Which makes it probably the most destructive weapon that we've ever come across, apart from Sargeras' sword itself. But we fight the Legion. We get to the Tomb of Sargeras. We take down Kil'jaeden, one of the Eredar lords of the Burning Legion. But nope, does that end our quest? Oh, no, it doesn't. We still got Ajara to deal with, which, not easy. Not easy. We get to Argus, the broken planet of Argus. We fight Argus himself with the help of the Pantheon. And peace is restored to the town. Of course, things happen. The Sargerite Keystone, which allows us to get to Argus. And then we get, Battle for Azeroth, which all about N'Zoth. All about that N'Zoth. All about the N'Zoth. No trouble. And not really the best. We take down N'Zoth in the Black Empire, Ny'alotha. For that, we take down Ajara, who is snatched upon her defeat and taken to Ny'alotha. And we thought that, that's going to be the last that we see of N'Zoth. But nope. Our favorite Naifu was also introduced in Legion, which she plays more of a role in here, still whispering to us, telling us what's to come, essentially, tricking us to N'Zoth in order to means to an end for her. We get the gift of N'Zoth that allows us to see. Our eyes are open. But we go dispatch N'Zoth, and in a scene very similar to Return of the King, after Sauron is defeated, we have the breaking down of Ny'alotha and the Black Spires, and after we blast a Azerite infused Kamehameha right at N'Zoth's face. And with that, Battle for Azeroth ends. We've taken down yet another old god. A previous one being Yogg-Saron in Ulduar, the Titan, the Pantheon's most important place. But till this point, we've taken out Yogg Saron, we've taken out Cthulhu, we have just now taken out N'Zoth, and we're like, oh yeah, boy, this is gonna be great. You couldn't be more wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. And then death itself. Sylvanas, in her wise, uh, influenced, her wisdom influenced, stupor, decides that she's going to take a little march to Northrend. She's going to take a little march to Northrend and break apart the veil between life and death. Apparently trying to set us all free. We go to the land of the dead, which parts of it are actually pretty nice. Bastion, Ardenweald, absolutely gorgeous. If I was to die and go to one of those, I'd be pretty happy. But we learn about the jailer, and even now, we still don't know what the jailer really wants. House divided cannot stand, or whatever he said. But we go through, we sort of unite the covenants and all that, and they kind of help us work towards stopping the jailer, who is determined to get the seals and this and that, and kind of claim Azeroth for himself. We eventually stop him, of course, after he becomes superpowered. So he's superpowered death. And still don't know what he wants. We know more about what his nipples look like than what his actual motives were. So, there's that. And then finally we get to Dragonflight. The Dragon Isles finally reveal themselves after 10,000 years. And we get introduced to the Primal Incarnates, which are some of the best written characters or villains in the game so far. So I'm really glad we got to meet them. And some of them are defeated. Some of them are off doing other things, waiting for their time to rise up again. And one of them becomes a member of the Dragonflights. And we learn more about the dragons. We learn about Neltharion's sort of madness and what drove him to creating the dragon soul, and that his corruption was a lot sooner than we thought it was. The corrupting of the Earth Warder. And so it ends with us fighting Farak, and who tears a rift into the Emerald Dream. And so we have to go after him. We beat him. Peace is restored. Once again. And now we have the War Within, which we're still early in, but all we know is that the World Soul is calling out to us and it needs our help. That Azeroth herself is in some kind of panic, an issue is occurring, and she needs her chosen heroes to assist her. And as we're traveling through War Within, we're learning more about not only Azeroth herself, but the Earthen who were kind of charged to take care of her, the Coreway, the Titans and their true plans, and other things that we've come across in Xalatath. We've gazed upon her feet several times because Blizzard made sure to show her feet off every single time. We have Illyria, who is doing Illyria things. We have Khadgar, who disappears from the beginning and then returns, and he gets this nice little arcane wheelchair thanks to his beloved. His beloved, although he never admits it. Neither of them will admit it. But yeah, currently where we stand, it's pretty early in the expansion still, and there's still a lot of story to get into. We're getting the Siren Isles soon enough, and that's going to introduce us to some more lore. And I understand my lore breakdown was kind of abridged. I'm assuming if you know the game, you know that I can't. don't want this to be too long. So I'm just kind of like Northrend. I know I didn't bring up going to Old War and Yogg-Saron, and I brought it up a little later. I know I'm not pinpointing every single thing. I get it. Okay? Doesn't mean I don't know the lore. It's just I'm not going to sit here for an hour talking about the lore and what we've gone through. So if you know the game, you know exactly what happened, and it's just a recap. But 20 years of World of Warcraft from humble beginnings, starting in Elwyn Forest, Valley of Trials, the Echo Isles, or, you know, if you're on the, you know, other side of things, Tearsfall Glades, or if you're Alliance, you know, Darnassus, Elwyn Forest, whatever the case, we all start in the same place, despite our differences as Alliance or Horde. We all just start in the same place, as simple travelers, just working our way through this expansive world, meeting new people, helping out, changing lives, and trying to break barriers and trying to end this conflict that's been between the Alliance and Horde for ages now. And while we, of course, continue the fighting, not so much now, but we fight, but then once that greater threat comes together, it shows that, hey, we need to really stop this. There's threats out there, and if we don't work together, we're not going to survive. You know, like the jailer said, a house divided cannot stand. Wait, no, that was Abraham Lincoln. What did the jailer say? A cosmos divided will not be able to survive what's to come, or something like, I don't remember. Like I said, we know more about his nipples than we do know about his actual plans. So, you know. Also, a major event, forgot to mention this. We heard Azeroth's voice for the first time in the in Shadowlands, as Tyrande was in the form of her Night Warrior, and Azeroth, or Elune, sort of possessed her body to talk to her sister, the Night Queen, or the Winter Queen, rather. So we get to hear Azeroth speak for the first time, or Elune speak for the first time, which is amazing. We've seen her talk before, but we've never heard her voice. We've heard Azeroth's voice for the first time in the cinematic for War Within, which is we knew she was talking to us at some point. She's been talking to Magni for years, but for once we get to hear her voice ourselves. So huge events have happened, and lore-wise for the game, I'm pretty excited. Even if the game is repetitive and the same, like, oh, collect this, go there. Lore-wise, I always look forward to the lore. I have since the beginning, and even if I was to stop playing WoW, I'd still be keeping up with the lore, just because I love the lore so much. So what Blizzard's done with the lore is really special. Creating something Tolkien-esque. You know, this expansive world, creation story, different languages for every race. And it really makes you feel like it's the world of Warcraft. As opposed to some games where you're very isolated in a small kingdom or land. This is an entire world to explore. So what they've managed to do compared to other MMOs is definitely really special, and that's why it's held up for 20 years. But this was a great video, a great reminder of where we started and where we are. And let me know when you started. What's your favorite history in Warcraft lore to date, whether it be shown in game or not. Because there's a lot of cool stuff that hasn't been shown in game that people really love. But then there's some that kind of outdo anything that we've read in the books and stuff like that. So what's your favorite lore moment, whether it be in the game or not? How long have you been playing? What do you think of the War Within so far? And any other things you can think about regarding World of Warcraft. But anyway, that's going to do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.